Non-organic fruit and vegetables are sprayed with pesticides, herbicides, fertilisers, all different types of chemicals to stop bugs, mice, rats, pests destroying the crop. However, if they kill bugs, mice and rats, etc., what do you think they're going to be doing to people's bodies on a long-term basis? Particularly when there's a cocktail of different chemicals that are sprayed on our foods. Not just one or two, it can be up to 10, 20 different chemicals or different sprays on a food. And so, you know, if you're not eating organically right now, I certainly recommend you start to go on the journey of eating organically. Organically doesn't mean it's always packed full of nutrition, because organic can still be flown around the globe. But what it does mean is that the use of pesticides hasn't been used. Okay? And it's what's not in it rather than what is in it. And I think that's a price worth paying by having organic food. Sharpie, whether we include this or not, I don't know, but this is my belief, okay? So, but if we're eating non-organic food, food that's had lots of chemicals sprayed on it, and on a daily basis, cocktail different chemicals, my question is this: has there ever been a long-term study done on a human being with the cocktail effects of lots of different chemicals in the body? Even if it's just in small doses, there's never been a long-term study done. These chemicals are passed safe in isolation when they're tested, not as a cocktail of chemicals. And they've never been done over a long-term study done on a human being over a number of years. Do you think there's many human beings who are going to want to sign up to having chemicals put in their body to see whether it's safe or not? My belief, Sharpie, is that the test is going on right now. And who are the test cases? The public. What are the results? Really bad. 1 in 2 people get cancer. Increase in neurological diseases, increase in Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, you name it, there is an increase in so many different diseases, and there's different diseases they're creating all the time. We need to start looking at what we're putting in our bodies and what we're exposed to regularly. Is that the cause? My belief is it is. Why? Because chemicals are stored in fat cells. Remember this, chemicals are stored in fat cells. So our body is absorbing chemicals from the food that we eat, from the pollution that we breathe in, from the body products we put on our skin, etc., from the cleaning products we use in our homes. Our body's absorbing chemicals daily. Lots of them. And would you agree that the body will do whatever it needs to do to survive? Would you agree? Now, what's the journey that these chemicals go on and get absorbed into the body, into the bloodstream? If they're circulating around the vital organs, do you think the body's going to be happy about that? No, it wants to shove them as far away from harm's way as possible. So what it does is it pushes the chemicals away from our bloodstream and vital organs. Yes, the liver works hard at processing a lot of these chemicals, but it's very overloaded these days for a lot of people. Shoves these chemicals as far away from harm's way as possible into our storage cells. And our storage cells are our fat cells. So if chemicals are stored in the fat cells, do you think the body's going to want to let go of fat? No. Body needs that fat to store the chemicals, protecting the body from being too toxic. It's a bit of a mind flip, because most people want to reduce the fat. I certainly recommend, if you're going to do this the healthy way, you reduce the chemicals. Your body's A, going to want to let go of the fat more easily, and B, it's going to be healthier. People are going to feel better for it. I highly recommend doing a cleanse program when you first get started and start to move organic. If you're going to move more organic, eat the fruits and vegetables that where you eat the skin. They're most important to be organic. Things like blueberries, things like apples, things like lettuce are much more important than a melon, like an orange, like a banana that is coated by a skin and protected more by a skin, avocados, etc. If you can move, I've gone on that journey and I've moved to all organic most of the time. It's not always possible. But it's making wise choices. So that's my organic soapbox moment. I want you also to check food labels. Start looking on the back of foods. And actually anything that actually has a food label is probably more likely to be processed, because most of supermarkets these days have processed foods in them. Once you get past the fruit, the vegetables, the chicken, the fish, the nuts and seeds, etc., the beans and pulses, everything else is pretty much processed. The company has created a product with lots of different things they've added to and taken out and what have you. Simply, my message for the food labels is, if there's words on the back of the food label that you can't read, pronounce, or you don't understand, probably a good choice not to have it. If you look on the back of the label and it's real food and you understand those foods, yeah, maybe better to have. The other thing I wanted to go into is about the farming, and just to bring us back connected with our food again, because these days many of us are disconnected from the farming processes, from our food and its sources. So it's all just there in packets, etc. Now, for me, I want to pay my body the best way in food, the highest quality. So I want to have chicken that's actually seen daylight, that's relaxed and not stressed, that's given the right food, that's not injected with antibiotics or growth hormones to make it grow quicker, or fed growth hormones to make it grow quicker. We've all seen the programmes on TV at some point. I just want to remind you at this point that go out your way to get good food. And if you're a meat eater, get the best meat. Do you think a chicken in a barn, noisy barn, where it can't move about, it can't run about, and sometimes can't stand up because it's so weak on its legs because it hasn't got the muscles to do it, you've got a fat chicken, not a muscular, lean chicken. Not a chicken that's been out relaxed and the sun and the vitamin D, etc. The difference is you can taste it. Meat's a lot tougher when it's stressed. Much more tender and healthy for us when it's more relaxed and the muscle fibres are more relaxed. So get the best chicken you can have. Is it any wonder if the chickens are given growth hormones to make them grow quicker, and then we are what we eat? We are whatever the chicken's been fed. We're top of the food chain, which is good in some ways because it means we don't get eaten, but bad in so many other ways if we're not aware of what's going on with our food. And so we eat whatever the chicken's eaten or been given. So is it any wonder if the chicken's been given growth hormones to make it grow quicker so that it can clear the barn and get the next lot of chickens in? Is it any wonder that chicken, that growth hormone in there is actually in people's bodies, and that as a race we tend to be growing more and not just taller but wider? Is it any wonder that if chickens are given antibiotics to stop them getting ill, because if one chicken in a barn gets ill, then the rest, it can spread to the rest, so if they're given antibiotics, then it means chickens don't get ill, and it means the farmers can make enough money, more money. Is it any wonder, and by the way, I'm not going to go at farmers, because actually some of the supermarkets can be squeezing the farmers on prices because of shareholders, etc. So farmers are having to resort to all sorts of things to get their food, to make money and make a living. Really high death rate. Probably won't put this in Sharpie, but there's a really high suicide rate in farmers. There's quite a few different reasons for that, but anyway. So I digress. Is it any wonder that humans are becoming more resistant to antibiotics, and we're getting more superbugs? That antibiotics aren't helping. Is it any wonder that could be? Have we ever thought that could be because we're eating food that has been given antibiotics that is in the food chain? It's really important to be aware of these things, and so we can make good choices. Cattle, if we've got to think about this again, cattle Cows can be given, if they're milking cows intensively, they can be given antibiotics because their udders get sore. And if the udders get sore, again, the milk side, they won't be able to do the milking, so given antibiotics to stop getting sore because they intensively milk the cows. Yeah? They give them growth hormones, and then at market, whether it's chickens or whether it's cows, the bigger the cow, the bigger the chicken, the more money they'll get at market for it. So if they can give them things to make them bigger, to make more money. But again, what's happening to humans? What knock-on effect does that have on us? And fish, lastly fish. Imagine salmon. Salmon, for example, gets fit and healthy swimming against the current in the stream and jumping out the water. Okay, that's what makes a healthy fish. A lot of farm fish can be in a bathtub size with other fish. There just isn't the strength to work against. Salmon gets its colour by eating the plankton in the water. Farm fish gets fed little capsule tablet things, little pellets. That's the word I was looking for. It's been created by something. And then they have to inject salmon with the colour pink to make it look pink again. So you really want to be looking for wild salmon. Organic salmon's the next option, but then organic, can be still farmed, but it will mean that there's no kind of pink chemicals gone into it. So it may not look the same as the normal fish, the salmon, the non-organic salmon. But think about it. Less chemicals. So, we've gone through the vegetables, we've gone into cows and chickens and the cattle, etc., fish. Growth hormones, daylight, so the animals get vitamin D, etc. There's a lot about food production. Get the best you can. Okay. I want to go through, where is it? The food chain. Organic food generally does taste better, particularly if it's UK and it's been picked more recently. Fresh organic food produce contains an average 50% more vitamins, minerals, enzymes, micronutrients. In fact, there was a study done, and I've got it in a newspaper article, remind me, Sharpie, to give you that. The study done that showed that there was more nutrition in organic food. Tastes better. It's good for the environment as well, the organic food, because it actually means that our environment's better. Organic farming helps to keep the essential minerals and goodness in our soils so that our future generations can benefit from the land and the nutrition from that. And we're only as healthy as the soil that our food is grown in. Probably going to go a bit too deep there if I start going into the soil for a lot of people. But so top tips, buy organic, buy local, buy fresh.